Okay, so we're going to do decimal multiplication. I know that word doesn't really say that, but that's what it means. So we have to multiply these two values. I think normally when they teach you guys to do multiplication, you guys set it up one on top of another, and you guys set up your number places in line with each other. So usually I think you guys would set it up like this. This being your ones column. You guys familiar with that? Mm-hmm. And this being the tenths with a TH at the end column. You guys more probably line it up like this, give it a multiplication sign, and then you start with the value on the bottom right multiplied by both. And then the next value, does that seem familiar to you guys?
Not really.
Not really? Okay, we'll go through it and then I'll do another one. So, first one here being 3, we're going to multiply it by 6 first. So we're going to ignore all the decimals. Really as if this really said maybe just 6 times 3. Okay, we're going to take that with the same values. So 3 times 6, do any of you girls know?
18.
Yeah, so we're going to get 8. And then what would we normally do with that 1?
Put it in the ones column.
Yeah, we'd put it into the ones column. And then we'd multiply again. So the next number we're going to multiply is 3 by 0. And what is that going to give us? 0. But we do have that 1 on top, right? So we're going to have to add it to it. So we're going to be left with the value of 1 here, right? Mm-hmm. Then the next number we would do would be the number from the ones column, and we would repeat the process. 0 times 6, and then 0 times 0. What is that going to give us?
0.
0. 0 times anything is going to be 0. But normally when we go into our next column, we start with a 0 down here, and then we start to multiplication. Does that look familiar at all? No? That's okay. So 0 times 0, and 0 times 0. Then we do our addition here. So this is like 2-digit multiplication if we have 2 digits here. When we add 8 plus 0 is going to be 8. 1 plus 0 is going to be 0. And 0 plus 0 is going to be nothing at all. Okay? So really, had I done 6 times 3, I would have ended up with the exact same answer. Right? But what's really important here, and I know it's got a little confusing here, so I'm going to write it in again over here so that it's a little clearer because we had a whole bunch of arrows over there, is how many decimal places are involved in the question. Okay, so I have what's considered 1 decimal place, and then I have another one. So a total of 2 decimal places. Okay, 2 decimal places. So what we can really do is if we want to simplify questions, we can just multiply the values and at the very end involve the decimal. So because I have 2 decimal places, I start at the very right, and I just count 2 decimal places to the left. So 1, 2. And the value of this is now 0 decimal 1 8. Okay? So let's try another example like that. Let's see if we can get through something else that's similar to this. Let's say we have 0.5 multiplied by 0.8. We'll call this example 2. Okay? If I got rid of the decimals, what would this question really just say?
5 times 8.
5 times 8, which is something we'd probably be able to do. Do you guys know off the top of your head what it is?
Yes, 40.
40, that's right. So I can really just write down the value of 40. And if I didn't, we could have used a calculator to solve that. Now what I'm going to do is count decimal places. So how many decimal places are in the value on top here?
1.
Just 1. And how many in the second guy?
1 again.
1 again. So a total of how many?
2.
2. So we're going to start on the very right, and we're going to count 2 decimal places over. 1, 2. So what would my real final answer be here?
0.40.
0.40. That's it. That's the answer there. So really it's identical to multiplication before. The only thing is we have to count decimal places, so depending on how many decimals we have in our questions. Okay? We'll do one more that's a little more difficult. Let's say we had a value, we'll call this example 3, something like 2.4 times 3.1. Okay? So this one's a little tougher because we have, well, that's not the line I wanted. There you go. Because we actually have values. Before we were only dealing with the numbers of 0, right? In our ones column, we actually have values in this ones column. So how can I rewrite this to be whole numbers without the decimals, let's say? What would this number on top become?
24.
That's right. We could read it as just 24. And what about the one on the bottom?
31.
That's right. We'll read it as 31. It's still a multiplication question, okay? We've just made it a little simpler for ourselves to look at. If we were to do this multiplication, we would start with our 1, and we multiply by what value first?
4.
That's 4. That's right. So what would 1 by 4 be?
4.
Good. After we've done that, we do the 1 again times the,
2.
yeah, and what are we going to get?
2.
Good. Okay. Now when we skip to the next value, the 3, I have to do something underneath. What do I have to do underneath here?
Add the 0.
Yeah, we have to put a 0 in here because we're now going into the tens column. Okay? So I have 3 times 4, which will give us what?
12.
12. So I get 2. And then I carry the 1 up here. And then I get 3 times 2, which will give us
6.
6. And then we have to add,
7.
that's right, 1, so we get 7. So I know there's a whole bunch of different colors down here. But essentially, the values are all lined up. And we do addition. Okay? So 4 plus 0 will be what?
4.
2 and 2.
4.
And then
7.
7. Okay, but that's not our final answer. We've done it when we have no decimals. Let's go back to the original question and count our decimal places. So how many decimal places are in 2.4?
1.
Yeah. How many decimal places in 3.1?
1.
1. So a total of how many?
2.
2 decimal, we'll say. So we're going to start to the very right, and we're going to count 2 decimal places to our left. 1, 2. So what is our final answer here?
7.44.
7.44. And that would be this guy here. 7.44. That would be it. Okay? So that's all we really got to do. It's sometimes easier to look at it without the decimals, do all the multiplication, and then just include the decimals in at the end. Okay?